So with a lot of B2B companies, they're very interested on the behavior that they see on their website. Or more specifically, as visitors visit their website, they look into Google Analytics and they can see from analytics what pages and what sections are quite interesting to the customers. And the customers or the prospects are typically very interested in the corporate history area, the product services offering, and the contact page. And those are obvious because when someone kind of comes to the website, they're probably very high in likelihood in converting. So the question more is, oftentimes in these B2B websites, they have this section that's dedicated to blogs, resources, articles, and other material, white papers and such. What they've seen a lot of times is that there's a very high bounce rate in these sections. And yet they could be asking their staff to devote a lot of time to building out a lot of this content. But seeing a really high bounce rate kind of makes you wonder how effective are those blogging and other articles and resource sections? How effective are they to promoting the brand or to help with just with their marketing growth in general? And Eunice, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think blogs are very crucial for any company to have on their website portfolio, just because that helps with your SEO. And by having all the different keywords that are related to your company in your blog section, that actually amplifies your keyword searchability on Google. And then so Google will actually rank you higher for those keywords because you already have it on your website. Mm-hmm. So definitely having content within your website does help amplify your searchability on Google. The other portion is to evaluate whether bounce rate is actually, the bounce rate that you're seeing is actually good or not. So by looking at the bounce rate, if you see something around like 80-90%, that's actually pretty high. But if you're seeing something around 45 to 55 kind of percent, that's not too bad, because that's quite natural within every single website. And because something around 80 to 90%, you can kind of see that people are coming to your website and the content is not interesting enough for them, that a lot of them are leaving. So if you see that you have about 80 to 90% of your bounce rate, you might want to look at like whether that content is actually something that the people that are coming to your website actually want to see. Mm-hmm. So you can evaluate it in two streams. Mm-hmm. You can look at the content itself to see whether it's how customers are coming to your website. Mm-hmm. Or you can look at the content and see if it actually goes to another part of the website. So first, when you look at how people are coming to your website, you can look at Google Analytics and then look at like if people are coming from a paid display banner, is that paid display banner content the same as on your website content? If somebody's coming from like paid display and they're seeing a certain keyword, does it actually translate to the blog post that you have? If it doesn't and there's a mismatch, you might want to look again at that content strategy and then see whether there's something you need to change. Or the second thing that I talked about is within the blog content, whether it goes to something else within your website. So it could be having related posts or popular posts. Mm-hmm. And then so that when somebody comes to one blog post, they know that they should do something else, whether it be go to another blog post or go to page or more blog posts or something like that. Something right. So that it drives them to do more action.
Right. Yeah. So something that engages the audience to stay on the website. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what I found that is for some of these companies that we work with, when we first work with them, with their article section, we see bounce rates as high as 90% or anywhere from 80 to 100%. And a lot of times what we can see is that they come in from organic search, which I'm going to assume is Google, right? They find a particular content, they go to that article, and then they just leave right after. They don't. So it's like, and that kind of leads me to think that their content strategy wasn't really that effective. They might be writing too broadly. Let's say, for example, a customer that might be building, I don't know, let's say websites, right? Like a company that likes to make websites or web design. and they start writing about best practices for graphic design or other things, people will discover that blog. But because the content is rather generic, or it's just like, it's industry, it's not targeted to, to the client itself, like what do we do special, or how it relates to some of their service offering. The people that stumble on these blogs, they just treat it as learning material, and then they'll move on. They're not interested in the brand that produced that content, and they're just moving on. So I think it kind of furthers your point, Eunice, that the content strategy, knowing why you're writing the content or creating the content that you're creating, and what is that? What is the customer journey that you're trying to map out for the customer? Like, you're really trying to engage them more and like, make them more familiar with brand. You don't want to capture the attention of people who aren't really interested in, who don't even have a need for your services in the first place. Yep.
Yeah, for example, if we're taking that use case of they're talking about how you can build a website for a graphic designer. It's just like, if you do have like a 5-step approach or something, it's like, and you want to talk about your brand, it's like, how can your brand relate to that, or how can your brand help with that? If it's like a consulting service, it's like,
Right.
oh, our consulting business can do this as well.
Right. Yep. Felipe, do you have any thoughts or questions around this?
I just wanted to know a little bit more about Tag Manager in context of this, because I've been getting a lot of people asking about Tag Manager lately, and I just wanted to know what additional use cases and information can be derived from it. Like, I mean, I understand from a technical perspective how it's implemented and captured. I just want to know what other kinds of conclusions you can draw from people's visits and interactions with a page using Tag Manager.
Yeah, Eunice, do you have
Yeah,
any
so with Tag Manager, it's actually a lot easier to assess what people are doing within the website. So you can assess things like how deep are they scrolling within that website. You can even put scroll tracking so that you can see whether somebody's going through 25%, 50, 75% of the page. If you have videos on the website, you can see like how much people are, which videos people are playing, stopping, replaying, and then like if they are playing videos, how long are they watching those videos for? You can see like if you have different modules within the website, you can see which modules people are clicking on, which ones people are actually just hovering on and not clicking on. And then so there's a lot of things that you can use with Tag Manager to see where people are clicking, where they're dropping off, navigating to but not doing extra. So it's actually really good to have Tag Manager so that you can implement this without having to code every single thing possible. It's because Tag Manager already has a lot of this built in, so you just can pretty much, if you even change the website, it will do it for you already too.
So with Tag Manager, setting up the ability to track all that information, is that just a matter of configuring a few more tags or snippets of code and applying to every single call of action, or is it much more
Yeah, pretty
involved?
much. I think as long as you have like a consultant or somebody who knows how to use Tag Manager properly, and then you can just have a few, like one tag for scroll track or hovering, another one for clicks. And then if they've already automated in such a process, every time you have a new CTA that you've created on your website, it can automatically track that too. So as long as you have this basic code that has JavaScript in it that will pull in whatever new CTA or new action, then it will already automatically capture that.
And how important is the role of a data consultant in this situation to really, map out the data strategy so that you're capturing the right information and it will fit into, a greater plan?
I think the consultant is pretty key, at least at the beginnings of the phase, so that they can set up all that data capture properly. And so it's afterwards, if they've set it properly, every single click is already captured, and every single time you change the website, all that click information is captured. And then afterwards, what's useful after having that pre kind of strategy phase and knowing, it's useful for them to be in the phase of taking all that data and amalgamating it in a way that is understandable for some other business user to understand. Because even though you've captured all this click information. Not every single click information is useful.
Mm.
So that data consultant would be very useful to know kind of which groups of click information should be captured together, and then how to kind of visualize that and present that to some other business user.
Yeah. So in short, is it safe to say that whereas Google Analytics can just track a lot of high-level behavior, Tag Manager can track much more resolution of the interaction on the page, and it's a little bit easier to set up. I mean, Google Analytics can probably do the same thing, but it just takes a lot more setup to do that, or a lot more effort from an implementation specialist, developer. But Tag Manager is a little bit easier to set up. It was meant for this thing. Does that sound
Tag
about
managers it just automates that involvement with the developer, and then so you don't have to have the developer involved, and all of it's pretty much done.
right? Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, Felipe, any does that help, or any other questions around that?
Yeah, no, that helped a lot. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think those were the two. I guess end up being three questions that we wanted to answer today. I mean, any other thoughts before we kind of close out this session? No.
I think no, this was great. This was very helpful for me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some more of these.
Yeah, I figure we'll just keep compiling a list of questions and answers that we commonly see in our industry, whether it's data, whether it's design or application development, or just more strategy things. Yeah, let's just build out this library so that it's helpful to everyone else. Right? Right. So thanks, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.